What's-ho folks, Thomas Benjamin Wild Esquire here. I've decided to do something a little bit different today. Over the last couple of years I've had numerous questions about my songs. One song in particular, let's face it, I've no more fucks to give. So I thought I'd create a little video to answer some of those questions for you. If this is the kind of content that you're interested in seeing, make sure you let me know by commenting below, or by liking, or by subscribing, if you haven't done so already, on the various social media platforms, because I'm on most of them. So, are you sitting comfortably? Good. Then I'll begin.
I'm over my fuck budget and I'm now in fucking debt.
I've No More Fucks to Give was actually the last song I wrote for my first album, Awkward Encounters While Walking My Dog, back in 2018. To give you a little bit of background, first of all, to that, I used to work in what we call here in the UK further and higher education, which is basically 16 plus. So students who are 16 either go to college or stay on for sixth form at their schools, and then past that point might choose to stay and do university courses at colleges within the UK. So the college I worked at did both further education and higher education. And I worked in the media department, where our main focus was film, TV, video production. The media department within the college sat within the performing arts department, which also encompassed the music department as well, which is where I met my producer, Lee Head, who I've worked with on all of the albums and all of the singles that I've done so far. We got to know each other through various work meetings where we'd all be sat in the same room talking about issues to do with the college courses, and we would often talk after that. In 2017, we actually decided to go into the studio and do some recording, partly as a bit of staff development. They've got some really, really nice studios at the college, and we decided we were going to make use of them over a summer, get to grips with how the equipment worked properly in there. Obviously he knew, I wanted to learn it, and it was good for him to be able to be using it, so that he could actually teach with that equipment as well. So we spent some time in 2017 working on some songs, some covers, some original songs, and it was going to originally be released as an EP. Then we decided that we would continue that on the following year and recorded a number of other songs, so that it actually turned into more of an album. And as I say, I've No More Fucks to Give was the last song that I actually wrote for that. So people often ask me where the lyrics came from for I've No More Fucks to Give, and it can be traced back to the job that I was doing at that particular time. At the college, my role at that point was as course manager of our level 2 and 3 courses. As course manager, I had to attend various meetings where we had to answer for things like attendance and retention rates and achievement rates and things like that. And it used to drive me up the wall. And I'd had a particularly difficult meeting that particular year. And off the back of that, the lyrics just seemed to flow out. I've often said it's the most easy song that I've ever written. That is true. I wrote the lyrics in a single evening. The tune came very, very quickly afterwards. It wasn't a difficult song to write at all. The one line about my fuck fuse being blown is actually a thing that I used to say around May time when I worked at the college, where basically everything would build up to around May, which was the final term of the year, and everything would be incredibly stressful until that point, and then just something would snap. And I would stop giving a fuck. And actually those meetings didn't seem half as stressful at that point. But until that point, it was incredibly infuriating and frustrating and stressful. So that's basically where the lyrics came from. I'd had a particularly difficult work meeting, as I'm sure many other people have. And the lyrics came off of the back of that. Now, another question that we get asked is about the recording of it. So we spent some time in the studio in the summer of 2018, recording the last 4 songs for the album. The first 4 we recorded the previous summer, and the last 4 we recorded in the summer of 2018. So we were recording in the studios, and Damien Clark who was another technician at the college at the time, just happened to be around during the summer as well. And so we called him in to play the guitar. And really, that's as much as what happened for the recording of I've No More Fucks to Give. I had to record it a couple of times. Initially, I had the lyrics in front of me. The first recording didn't sound quite as good, so I came back and recorded it again later in the year, once I knew the lyrics a little bit better, which I think actually made a lot of difference to how the track actually sounds. But Damien ended up playing the guitar on there, and we decided it needed very little else, really. Another question that I get asked quite a lot is why the name of I've No More Fucks to Give on the album version on the various streaming sites is I've No More ... to give. Whereas the single version, which includes the radio-friendly version of it, is actually called I've No More Fucks to Give. That can be traced back to my own disorganisation when sending the tracks off to be distributed to the streaming sites. I've been working with a company called Ditto, who send it out to all the various platforms. I didn't have a clue how long it took. So I'd looked into various things. I actually asked someone and made the mistake of believing them about how quick it would happen. They actually told me that it would be uploaded within a couple of hours, so I left it to the last minute. Then when I came to actually upload the tracks for it to be distributed, I realised that I had to pay extra money to have it as a 24-hour turnaround, and there was only the guarantee that it would end up on Apple straight away. But at that point, I'd left it to such the last minute, I wasn't sure what the different platforms' rules were in terms of having swear words in songs, titles. And at that point, for the life of me, could not think of a title of a song that had the name of that had a swear word in it. And so rather than risk it being sent back and being told that they couldn't put it on there because of a swear word, I decided to censor it myself. Then I realised a little while afterwards it didn't matter, that you can have swear words in songs. Of course you can, in the titles of songs. But that's why on the album version it's I've No More ... to give. What then happened subsequently was another artist recorded a cover of it and named it I've No More Fucks to Give. It was quite an early cover, but people can cover songs however they want to. So I decided I needed to release it as a single with the actual title in it as well. So I released the original version of I've No More Fucks to Give along with a radio-friendly version with the hopes that I could get it played on the radio as well. And yeah, so I actually titled that I've No More Fucks to Give, which means that you can actually find my version of the track now. On that subject, I actually made a request to Lee to create a version of the track for me that didn't have any swearing in at all. So to censor out all of the words and to use different comedy noises for each of the 36 uses of the F word in there. He obliged. He actually recruited a student in to help him do it. But actually, I really, really like the radio-friendly version of the track as well. I actually find it funnier sometimes. And it does make me nearly laugh when I'm playing it on stage, when I'm playing it live. That version means that I can also play it if I'm playing at events during the day when there might be children present. Because I do get booked for lots of those kind of shows. And people want to hear that song. People want to hear that song generally when I'm playing live. So it gives me the opportunity to be able to play it without actually putting the swear words in there to allow for sensitive ears, so to speak. So the next question that I get asked a lot is how I ended up shooting a video in a suit shop. So that all can be traced back to a relationship that I had with a company called the Vintage Suit Hire Company, who were based in a shop called Boyds of Bedford, which is no longer in the place that it used to be, and they've moved to a bigger premises. But at that point, they were based in Bedford Town Centre, and they had already allowed me to use some of their suits for performing in, so they'd actually lent me them to play at various performances. And in around September of 2018, me and my partner were walking along the river, trying to work out a good way of being able to promote the release of the album that was coming up in November. And one of the things we talked about was doing a live stream. The difficulty with that was actually having an audience there and having some kind of atmosphere. Because what we didn't want to do is hire a big space that required a big audience to be there to give it some kind of atmosphere. So the suggestion that my partner had, who is a bit of a social media whiz, was that we spoke to the chaps at Boyds Of Bedford, a vintage suit hire company, to ask whether we could actually shoot it in their shop, because it was a suit shop. It looked really nice. It had the right aesthetic, so to speak. And we didn't need to fill it to be able to give it a sense of atmosphere in there. So there was only about 6 or 7 people watching that show. But I did live stream it from a video camera on a camera phone at the back of the room, front on, which isn't the video that you actually see that went on social media and the one that subsequently went viral. It's actually a separate one. So it was placed at the back, sitting straight on, and it was also in portrait rather than landscape. So that was what we did the live stream from. Actually, if you look back through the videos on YouTube or on Facebook or wherever, you can actually find that. I'll post a link to that underneath this as well. So we shot it on that. The other thing that I'd done was to borrow a camera from the media department at the college and just place it at the side so I could film the entire show and then use cut up versions of the songs to be able to put on social media later on. So you'll see lots of those videos from that original live launch gig throughout my YouTube channel. So I placed that there without very much thought at all. And I kick myself now watching that video back, because you can see my phone, you can see a water bottle, you can't quite see the audience there at all. You can see 2 people sat on the front row, but that's about it. I didn't really think about the placement of the camera, and as somebody who did media production as a subject, I should be a little bit ashamed of myself for that. But it just so happens that was the one that went viral, so I'm not going to worry about that too much. But yes, so the camera was placed there, and you can see 2 of our friends sat on the front row watching the show, but there is about 5 or 6 other people sat behind them, and then some people behind the camera as well. Now, during that show, our friend Leah, who is actually sat at the front, is throwing her arms up a lot, and people have questioned what she's doing there. Now, what she was trying to do was to create a sense of an audience for the camera that was just behind her for the live stream, so that it looked like there was a crowd there and an audience there. So you see her flicking her hand up in the air at various points throughout the set. It's not some kind of weird thing that she's doing. There was actually a reason for that. There was a reason that she was actually doing that. So hopefully that answers the questions about that. The album was launched. I seem to remember, there's a great tool on Spotify when you're signed in as an artist, where you can actually see how many people are listening to your music at any given time. And I think during that time, obviously I released the album, it went out. And I got very excited when there was 2 people listening to it. It's very exciting. And yeah, so the album got launched. I had a couple of gigs that Christmas, most notably for the New Sheridan Club in London. Played No More Fucks at their Christmas event, which went down quite well. So this was November, that we actually filmed the album launch in November. I then played that song once live in December at this Christmas gig. And then on the 3rd of January was when I actually posted the video to Facebook and YouTube and that kind of thing. Didn't think much else of it. After about a week, I think it had 2,000 views on Facebook, and I was very excited about that. 2,000 views. Most of my other videos had about 100, 200 views. So I had 2,000 views after 2 weeks, and I thought, I'm going to post another video. And my partner very, very, calmly said, just leave it another day or so. And so I did. And then the following day, something happened, somebody'd shared it, and it all went a bit crazy. It all went a bit insane. And that is that really. The video gradually started creeping up. I remember being at college, getting rather excited about this, and running into Lee and him running into me and showing him at various points how many views we'd had, asking each other, can we consider this viral yet? And then it got to 1 million views on Facebook, which I was rather excited about. And I remember saying that to some of my students who they'd cottoned on to that happening as well. I said it to my son students. One of my favourite things that any of them said to me was, it's not 1 million on YouTube though, is it? Come back to me when you've got 1 million on YouTube. That was the thing I quite enjoyed about working at the college, is how grounded it kept you. How much the 16-year-olds aren't really that impressed by very much in relation to that kind of thing. So yes, that's how it all went, really. That's how it all started. The other question I get asked about is what the response has been like to it, and whether I'm doing okay off the back of the song going viral. I'm doing pretty well from that. Thank you very much. To be quite honest, I'm incredibly grateful. And if I don't write another song that is as popular as that, I don't care. It's quite a nice legacy to have. There's one of the things I have been delighted by is the number of people who have done cover versions of it in various different ways. Some of my favourite have been metal cover versions of it. Other various things. People have done lyric videos for it. I'm going to post some links underneath there to some of my favourite ones for that as well. But one of my dreams as an artist has always been to have a song that people like so much that they want to do a cover of it. And so that was hugely, hugely gratifying for me as an artist. And I'm very pleased that did happen. Hopefully I've answered all your questions about I've No More Fucks to Give. If you've got any more, please don't hesitate to post them in the comments. I will try and answer them if I can. If you've got an idea or another subject that you'd like to see me talking about in this kind of video, again, post in the comments, post your suggestions down there, and I'll see what I can do. If you'd like to see this kind of thing on a more regular basis, then do come and join my Patreon community, where I do this pretty much every week. We have chats and various things like that. Other than that, thank you very much for joining me. Hope you all have a wonderful, wonderful day. Toodle pip!
No fucks left to buy. I've no more fucks to give. No more fucks I've tried to get. I'm over my fuck budget and I'm now in fucking debt.